Hi, I'm Shruti from the Exchange Reporter Plus team of Manage Engine. Thank you very much for registering and for attending today's workshop. It means a lot to us here at Manage Engine. This session will be all about reporting on Exchange components such as OWA, ActiveSync, and email traffic. Before we get into the topics for today, let me tell you one thing. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask us. You can do so by using the chat box that you see on your screen. We'll get back to you immediately with the answers. If we're not able to do so, we'll answer your questions after the end of the session. In the past 3 workshops of this workshop series, we saw a lot of things. We saw how you can report on every nook and cranny of mailboxes in your organization. We saw how you can audit mailbox permissions. We saw how you can track changes to the properties of mailboxes and changes to Exchange databases. We finally saw how you can monitor an entire Exchange environment using the monitoring reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. So as I mentioned before, the 3 main things we will be looking at today are OWA, ActiveSync, and email traffic. In order to give you a look and feel of the product, I'm going to show you the product screen right now. So I'm going to be logging into the product right now, and this is the lab setup that I will be using. It is called admp.cloudapp.net : the port number, which is 8181. You can also log into the product along with me and explore the product at your own place. The URL that you should use is admp.cloudapp.net, as I mentioned before, and this is the same URL that I will also be sending to you over chat. The credentials to log in, which will actually be auto-filled, it is just admin as the username and as the password. This will also be sent to you over chat. So let me log into the product, and I'll also give you a minute so that you can log in too, if you please. So this is our product screen. The 3 main functionalities of Exchange Reporter Plus are the reporting functionality, auditing, and monitoring. The past 3 workshops had reports from each of these 3 tabs of this product. So we've already looked in detail at several of the reports under each of these tabs. The reports and the tasks that we will be performing today will be focused under the Reports tab of Exchange Reporter Plus. So if you look at the Reports tab, there are several different categories, but the categories that we will be focusing mainly on are OWA and ActiveSync and email traffic. So all the tasks that we are performing today will fall under these 2 categories of the Reports tab. Without further ado, let us look at the agenda for today's workshop. So by the end of this workshop, these are all the tasks that you will know how to perform very easily using Exchange Reporter Plus. The first task, that is OWA logon failure and the reasons for this failure. That is what we will be doing first. This will be followed by you finding out how you can optimize server performance in your organization by tracking OWA logon by server. You will also learn how you can identify malicious activity very easily by just tracking the OWA logons based on IP addresses. So if there is way too many logons from a particular IP address, it could be something fishy, and you can track that easily using this report. You will learn how to find the number of mobile devices, the number of ActiveSync enabled devices in your environment, and you will also be able to easily find their operating systems. You will know how to get a list of all the inactive ActiveSync devices in your organization. You will be able to identify the top email users based on both the number of their messages and the size of their messages. You will be able to find out the reason for email delivery failure very easily using this product. You will also be able to determine the total number and the details of both delivered and undelivered emails within a custom time period that you set. And finally, you will see how you can use this product to track the top internet users in your organization. By the end of this session, you should be able to do all these tasks in a much quicker manner than you have been doing without the product. If you look at these tasks, you can see that the first few are about Outlook Web Access, OWA. So OWA has become an integral part of our work environment. We no longer have to be stuck to our desktop because of Microsoft Outlook. And users who are in travel can now easily use OWA to access mailboxes through their web browsers via the internet. And this makes our lives so much easier, right? But there is a problem here. While this improvement is an advantage, there is also an issue here. There are new security challenges for us as administrators. We now need to keep track of who accessed emails on our organization's Exchange servers. And this is effectively taken care of by Exchange Reporter Plus's Outlook Web Access reports. If you look at the first topic in detail, it is about how you can get details about OWA logon failure and also how you can find out the reason for this failure. Picture this. You are spending a normal day in your office doing your own job, and suddenly you have to deal with a problem. Your users are saying that when they try to access their mailboxes through OWA, there are few unsuccessful attempts before they successfully log in. Now, what could be the problem here? In order to find out where the issue is, you go hunting for all the logs to see what happened. And you spend way too much time doing this. And it is pretty tiring for you, I can understand that. And I am here to offer you an easier solution for this problem. You can use a particular report of this product called the logon failure report. So I will show you where you can find this this report in this product. It is present under the OWA and ActiveSync category of the product, and it is called the logon failure report. So let's click on it to look at the report. Right. So you can see the name of the user. You can see the date at which this user tried to log on to OWA. You can see the client IP address. You can see the error description. That is what exactly went wrong and why they weren't able to log on to OWA. In the first row, that is for the user Jon Snow. I guess someone's been watching Game of Thrones a lot. So here you can see that the error description is unknown username or bad password. You can see the browser name, which in this case was Chrome, and you can see the browser version, the server name, the HTTP status code, and the request URL. So all comprehensive information about logon failure when it comes to logging on to OWA can be easily found using this product. This way, you can easily find out if someone suspicious is trying to log on to your user accounts, or if it was just user error, if it was just your users messing up entering the password or something along those lines. With every report of Exchange Reporter Plus, there are three things that you could do. You could bookmark the report by pressing on the Add To button. So once you bookmark the report, all you have to do is look at the My Reports category to find out that the report has been bookmarked. The second thing that you could perform is export the report to a destination folder. And what do you want the report to be as? It could be in the CSV format, PDF, XLS, or HTML. Finally, you could print out the report so that you can view it later on. And these three functionalities can be performed on every report of Exchange Reporter Plus. So this is how you can easily get information about logon failure to Outlook Web Access using Exchange Reporter Plus. Let's look at the next topic for today. what are we going to do next? We are going to find out the number of logons to servers by using Outlook Web Access. And why would you need to do that? There are some times when you may wish to audit OWA logon traffic on each server. And why would you need to do that? In order to optimize the performance of your Exchange servers that host Outlook emails. Also, you need to work out a way to avoid unnecessary clutter in the traffic for an Exchange server. You need to ensure smooth functioning of Outlook Web Access by doing so. In order to find out OWA logons based on the server, you can use the server-based logon report. I'll switch to the product screen to show you how you can find this report. It is present under the OWA General Reports category and it is called server-based logon. So let's click on it to view complete information about logons to OWA based on the server. So this report shows you the name of the server and the logon count from that particular server. In this case, ADMP-EX1 has a logon count of 53. It is as simple as that. You just have to look at the report and find out the logon count based on the servers. In addition to this, the logon count is also shown to you in graphical format at the top of the screen. The top 10 servers and the logon count for these 10 servers is shown here in graphical format. So you don't even have to look at the report. You can first look at the graph and see if something's happening. This way, you get comprehensive information about logon traffic on all servers and you can keep an eye on all activities that happen in your Exchange environment. I know what you're thinking. How do you just track the logons based on servers? What about when you want to track based on the client IP address? And that is what the next task is going to tell you about. So the next task is track logons to OWA based on the IP addresses. We need to make sure that our Exchange environment is secure always. And if any malicious activity takes place, we need to be ready to track exactly what the problem is. And if a suspicious activity is emerging from a specific IP address, it is obvious that something fishy is going on. Do you get where I'm going with this? So you can see that using a particular report of this product, you can see if a specific IP address has been logging into OWA too many times within a short period. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So you can track it further to see if something bad, if something malicious is emerging from this particular IP address. And this is how you can easily track logons based on the IP address. By using the report called Client IP Based Logon, you can do this. So this report shows you the client IP address. It shows the IP address from which the logon is emerging. It also shows you the logon count from that IP address. So as I said before, if the logon count from a particular unfamiliar IP address is way too much, if it is a lot larger than you usually get, you can know that there is something fishy going on and you can see how exactly you are going to take up further analysis and see what can be done about this situation. So this is how you track logons to OWA based on the IP address of the client. Let us now look at the next task for today. You will know how you can use this product to find the number of mobile devices in your environment and also find the operating system of these mobile devices. So, mobile devices. This is obviously about ActiveSync, right? ActiveSync doesn't have to be a problem for you anymore because Exchange Reporter Plus offers ActiveSync reports that will help you get down to the specifics of ActiveSync usage in your organization. You no longer have to tire yourself out by poring over PowerShell scripts. Instead, you can fetch ActiveSync information with just a click of the mouse using ActiveSync reports. So coming back to this topic, which is about finding the number of mobile devices. We have all run into this problem at least once. You need to pull up a list of all mobile device users in your organization who use their mobiles to connect to their mailboxes. You need to alert some of these users about updating their OS, as their current OS has problems syncing with Exchange. And this would obviously cause performance issues for your users, so you want them to update immediately to avoid problems. We have all run into this scenario at least once, but bringing up a list of these users no longer has to be a tiring job for you. You can just use the ActiveSync device details report in order to get this information with a single click of the mouse. This report can be found under the ActiveSync General Reports category of the product. It is called the ActiveSync Device Details Report. Let's wait for the data to be generated in the report. So this report gives you complete information about all the ActiveSync enabled devices in your organization. So you can see the name of the device, you can see the type, the device type that is, and you can see when the first sync happened, the time of the first sync and the date of the first sync. You can see the username for the mobile device which had an ActiveSync device partnership. You can see the IMEI number of the device. You can see the OS of the device and other details such as when the last successful sync was and when the last sync was attempted. By seeing the name of the device and the OS of the device, you can now easily warn users about any updates or upgrades that they need to perform on their device. And this is how you can easily perform one job which until now you had taken a long time to perform. It no longer has to be tiring for you. All you have to do is click on this report and wait for the data to be generated. What is the next task for today? You are going to see how you can use this product to get a list of all the inactive ActiveSync devices in your organization. So, inactive mobile devices. Mobile devices are now very popular. Long gone are the days when only a select few people had their own cellular phones. Everyone has a mobile these days, and each time a newer model comes out, we ditch the older one and go for a newer version. What about users who have all these mobiles on ActiveSync device partnerships? These people, that is these users, they can clean up these inactive devices by themselves by using Outlook Web. But obviously they don't do it by themselves, and it falls on our shoulders to clear this up, to find all the inactive devices in the organization and to remove them. And instead of using PowerShell for this, you can use the inactive ActiveSync device report of the product. Once again, this report can also be found under the ActiveSync General Reports category. It is called the Inactive ActiveSync Devices Report. In the case of any report which considers an inactive period, Exchange Reporter Plus sets the period as a default to 35 days. You can also edit the inactive period based on your liking. Click on Go and it would just show you details about it based on the inactive period. So I'm going to leave it at the default inactive period, that is 35 days. So this report shows you information about all the ActiveSync devices that have been inactive for a period of 35 days. It shows you the name of the device, the username for the user who uses the device, the last successful sync, and when the last sync was attempted. Using this information, you can decide what you want to do with all the inactive or stale devices in your organization. And this is how you can easily get information about inactive ActiveSync devices using this product. The next task that we are going to look at is this. How do we identify the top email users by the number of messages and the size of messages that they send? Keeping a track or keeping a tab on all the mailing activities of Exchange mailbox users and tracking their message traffic is an important job for us. You can easily track and analyze traffic using 4 reports provided by Exchange Reporter Plus. The information generated by these reports will be beneficial for you in many ways. For example, there might be times when, even under normal circumstances, one server might be handling some more load than the other server. In such cases, the data gathered from the traffic reports can be of assistance to you in balancing server loads. And with this, you can also ensure smoother operation of your Exchange environment. It can also help you out in monitoring Exchange server performance and for planning future capacity. Another thing that this information helps you out with is protection against spamming activity. Having these reports by your side will will help you prevent spamming activity. An abnormally high mailing activity, either originating from or directed to a particular user's mailbox, is a clear sign of some malicious activity. While in some rare cases this might be intentional, it is mostly a malware that works behind these issues. And using the data gathered from the mailbox traffic reports of Exchange Reporter Plus, an Exchange administrator can get alerted at the right time and can take the necessary action. Now that we've spent enough time talking about the reports, let's take a look at the actual reports. Since this is about email traffic, the category of this report is email traffic under the Reports tab. So we are going to look at 4 reports right now in order to track the top email users based on the number and the size of messages. The 4 reports are the number of messages by sender, the size of messages by sender, the number of messages by receiver, and the size of messages by receiver. Let's look at the first report, which is tracking the number of messages, the top email users, based on the number of messages that they have sent. This is for the sender. And this report shows you the mailbox display name. It shows you the number of messages that the user sent and how many of these messages were internal and how many of these were external. In order to make it easier for you, the top 10 senders based on the numbers are also shown in graphical format at the top of the screen. So all you have to do is look at the graph and find out which user has been sending a large number of messages in your organization. In the case of size of messages, when you want to see the size of the messages based on senders who have sent it, you can use the size of messages by sender report. And this report shows you the mailbox display name, the size of the messages sent, how many of these were internal and how many were external. As always, the top 10 senders are also displayed in graphical format at the top of the report. In the case of these same reports based on the receiver, you can use the number of messages by receiver report. And the other report is size of messages. Let's first look at the number of messages based on the receiver. And once again, it is the same kind of details that we saw in the previous 2 reports. It shows the display name of the mailbox, the number of messages received, internal and external messages. The total count is shown here, and a graph at the top of the screen. If you look at the final report, which is the size of messages based on the receiver, I'm sure I don't have to tell you what details it is going to display here because it is the same as the previous 3 reports that we saw, except that this is from the receiver's end. So it shows you the mailbox display name, the size of the messages received, the size of internal messages, and the size of the external messages. A graph is also present for the top 10 recipients by size at the top of the report. This way, using these 4 reports, you can be super vigilant on mailbox traffic on both ends of Exchange communication. Email communication and email traffic is going to be so much easier for you with these reports by your side. What are you going to do next? You are going to use this product to find out which emails went undelivered, and you are going to find out the reasons for the failure of email delivery. There are times when you need to find out all the emails in your organization that went undelivered to their destination mailboxes. And why? Because it could mess up communications for your users. It is always good to see how many emails are going undelivered in your organization. And the reason for the failure of email delivery is also something that you need to keep track of all the time. And you can do so using the non-delivery reports of Exchange Reporter Plus. If you scroll down on the left pane, you can see a category called non-delivery reports. If you click on it, the first 3 reports are the reports that will help us out in finding out which emails went undelivered. The first report that we are going to look at is the undelivered emails report. As the name indicates, this report is about all the emails that went undelivered, that were not delivered to the intended destination, to the intended recipient, if you may. And it shows you the email ID of the sender who sent the email. It shows the recipient email ID to which the email ultimately did not reach. It shows you the subject of the email message that was sent to this recipient email address. It shows the size of the message. It shows the description for why the email was not delivered, and several possible causes can also be seen. All you have to do is hover over the More button and it shows you the possible causes for which the email wasn't delivered. In the case of the second row, you can see that the description, the error description, was that the delivery was not authorized. Unable to relay, the client was not authenticated. So all you have to do is click on this report and see the error description, see why the email did not ultimately make it to the recipient email address, and you can find out exactly how you want to rectify this problem. And another report that we are going to look at now is emails to invalid addresses. So how about when you want to find out only the emails that were not delivered because they were sent to invalid addresses? That is where you would use this report, the emails to invalid addresses report. Using this report, you can see the email ID of the person who sent the email message. You can see the person who was supposed to receive the message but it was not delivered to them ultimately. You can see the subject of the message that was sent to this person. You can see the size of the message, the description, and the possible causes. So this is how you can quickly find out the emails that went undelivered because they were sent to invalid addresses. How about email messages that went undelivered because the size was the problem? When size is the issue, you can find out all the emails that went undelivered using the failure due to size report. This report shows you the sender email ID, the recipient email ID, the subject of the message, the size of the message, the description, and possible causes. And this is how you get detailed information about all the emails that went undelivered in your organization. And you can also find out the reason for why that happened using these reports. Let us look at the next task for today. Determine the total number and the details of both delivered and undelivered emails within a custom time period. So, email delivery. It is not as simple as we thought it was. You don't just click send and automatically expect the mail to reach its intended destination. A number of emails actually go undelivered. And if your job relies on email performance, tracking the delivered and undelivered mail ratio would do good for you. And to do so, you can use a particular report of this product. It is called the delivered versus undelivered report under the non-delivery reports category. Using this report, you can see the number of delivered and the undelivered messages in your organization. So it is listed out quickly here, and it is a nice comparison. And the graphical format of this is also present at the top of the report, where green is the number of messages delivered and yellow is the number of messages that were not delivered. And you should always keep rooting for green because you don't want yellow to be larger. You don't want a large number of your messages to go undelivered. You always hope for the best and hope that the number of messages delivered is always greater than the number of messages non-delivered. If you can see here, this report is generated for the period yesterday. But how about when you want to track the ratio between delivered and undelivered messages over a custom time period? Click on this drop-down menu and you can see that there are a number of options available, such as this week or this month, the last 7 days, and so on. But you want to track it just for a custom period that you set. So click on custom period from this drop-down menu. So let's select a date. Let's track it from the starting of October to today. So let's click on October 1st. And the time zone, there's either GMT or local. I'm going to leave it at GMT here. Click on go and it shows you the ratio of delivered versus undelivered messages from October 1st to the 19th of October. And this is how you can easily keep track of the number of messages that went delivered and the number of messages that were not delivered in your organization using Exchange Reporter Plus. The final topic for today. You are going to see how you can use this product to track the top internet users in your organization. So your organization could be small, it could be small or a large business organization. You definitely have some plans and policies in place to monitor the internet traffic within the organization. And you use these as a protective layer because it safeguards all the critical business information in your organization. And sometimes you may need to keep an eye on some users who send messages to external domains. You don't want them to abuse your privileges for their personal use. Or you'd like to see if they are sending emails to someone that you are competing with. Whatever be your reason, you can do so by using certain email traffic reports. So the category that we are looking for is the traffic from or to internet by user. And there are several reports available under this category with which you can track the top internet users. The first report that we are going to look at is the number of mails sent by a user. As the name indicates, this report shows you the total number of emails sent by a particular user. You can select the user by clicking on the select button here. So all the users are listed out here. All you have to do is click on a select user, click on OK, and you can see the number of mails sent by the user. I'm going to go ahead and select all these users to see the number of mails sent by these users. And it shows you the display name, the sender display name or the email ID. It shows you the external domain name and the number of messages sent by this sender. In the case of size of the email sent by the users, you can use the size of mail sent by a user report. And once again, you can select the particular users for whom you would like to track the number of emails that they sent. Once again, I'm going to choose all these users in order to track the number of mails, the size of the mails sent by them. And once again, it shows you the sender display name, the external domain name, and the size of the messages. In the case of the number of mails that were received by a user, you can use the report called number of mails received by a user. Once again, you can select the users for whom you would like to track the number of mails that they received. I'm going to select all the users. Once again, click on OK. And it is the same kind of information. It shows you the external domain name, it shows you the recipient email address, and it shows you the number of messages that were received. In the case of size of the messages that were received, you can use the size of mails received by a user. And once again, it is going to be information similar to the previous 3 reports. So I will quickly do this so that you have a quick look at it. Click on OK. And it shows you the external domain name, the recipient email address, and the mailbox display name, and the size of the message that they received. 2 more reports that we are going to look at is the number of mails sent to a specific domain by a given user and the number of mails received from a particular domain by a given user. So let's look at the first report. This report is about the total number of mails that was received from a specific domain, or it was sent to a specific domain by a given user. In order to track this, you can select the user who sent the email by clicking on the select button here. All you have to do is select a particular user and you can track the mails that were sent by them based on this. So I'm going to select, say, Eleanor. And for the external domain, you can select one of the external domains that show up here. So I'm going to select the first domain, which is just domain.com. And this report will show you the number of mails that were sent to domain.com by Eleanor, who was the username that we selected here. So in the period yesterday, this person hasn't sent any email. Let's go back a little to the last 30 days. I'm sure Eleanor indulged in some unsavory activities. See, so she sent an email to domain.com and you can track details about it using this report. You can see the date at which Eleanor sent this email. You can see the email address of the person who received this email. You can see the message subject, the size of the message, and the number of recipients. So this is how you can see if a particular user in your organization has been emailing a specific domain outside the organization. In the case of the number of mails received from and outside a specific domain by a given user in your organization, you can use this report. That is the number of mails received from a specific domain by a given user. This is the report that you should use. You can select both the external domain and the mails received by, you will select the username in this case by clicking on the select button for both of these categories. So we'll select the external domain first. Let's go with testdomain.com and the username, the user who received the email from this external domain. I'm going to select the first user, which is just the admin user. And for the period of yesterday, this shows all the emails that was received by this user from this domain. It shows you the date at which this email happened. It shows you the sender's email ID. It shows the subject of the message and the size of the message. And this is how you can easily track the top internet users and specific details about these internet users in your organization easily using Exchange Reporter Plus. That's it for today's workshop. So let's quickly look at what we covered in this session. We saw how you can report on all the reasons for logon failure to Outlook Web Access. We saw how you can track logons to OWA based on both the server and the client IP addresses. You saw how you can identify the total number of ActiveSync devices in your environment and their operating system. You saw how you can list out all the inactive mobile devices in your organization, all the stale ActiveSync device partnerships that are present in your organization. You saw how you can find the top email users based on both the number and the size of their messages. We saw how you can report on the reasons for email delivery failure in your organization. We saw how you can view the details of both delivered and undelivered emails within a custom time period that you set. And finally, we saw how you can track the top internet users in your organization. The next and final workshop in this workshop series will be held on the 26th of October, which is also a Wednesday at the same time as today. We will be wrapping up this series with a look into how you can use Exchange Reporter Plus to report on distribution lists and how you can report on content and room mailbox reports, Office 365 reports, and public folder reports. Do attend the next workshop too. I will be looking forward to seeing you guys there. In a while, we will also be sending you a feedback form. It would be very helpful to us if you could tell us how this workshop was and how exactly we can improve this experience for you. Don't forget to attend next week's workshop. Until then, thank you and goodbye. Hope you have a great day today.